So I'm going to be working on a new start show. I don't think I'm going to do too much of the previs right now because I don't need to and I don't have time. So I'm just going to work on my layout. I have a new idea. I had an old start show, but it had a bunch of issues in it, and it was just trying to implement programming that ChamSys really couldn't do it. Its methodology, it's not that it couldn't do it, it's just the way that you do things on ChamSys is a little bit different than some other consoles out there. So now that I kind of have this idea and they've implemented more stuff that I wasn't aware of in the executor layout, so it kind of helps me do this more. So first off, I'm just going to patch in a few things, and I'm just going to let them go to wherever they go in previs, just so I can see them. So previs is going to look like shit right now, but we're going to deal with it. So I'm just going to patch in what I have in my house rig here, just so that way I can do some live programming on the rig, and then I can just morph the fixtures later. So yeah. Oh, what am I thinking? What am I doing? So I have some bare lights, 2500s. Let's do 10 for now. And yes, we'll put them in the previs. And we got some Chabet. What are they? The Colorados. They're the Tritors. So, 1 Tri-T, and they are in that mode. Patch 20 of them in. And then we'll just reset heads because that bugs me. No, come on. That's not what I want to do though. Oh, derp. Why do you do this to me? Okay, I'm just having some user issues. It's my own fault, so make those 201s. These are going to be 101s. Okay. The one thing I did wish we had on here was, a way to just layer this a little better. Even folders, so I could just collapse things. I mean, I know you could just view it by whatever, but I just wish there was a better way to. We're just going to do auto palettes for now, just create the basic palettes. Also, I don't have a wing in front of me right now, so going through everything, it's a little bit more difficult than I want, so let's just go to default layout. First off, very basics of everything. Let's create 2 intensity faders. Oh, I already fucked up. That's not what I want to do. because I need to. I'm already screwing up the design I had in my head. Because I want it to be interchangeable to whatever the rig is, so. Let's actually just delete these. So I'll have trash to deal with later. Outcome. Really wish I had a wing right now. Maybe I'll bring it in tomorrow. Okay. So I want to organize these by type. So I know I'm going to have beam, spots, a wash, and an LED type fixture. So those are going to be my main groups. I'll have some variations of those groups, but based on how I select fixtures. But wonder, can I set group names before I record them? I can. Okay. No, I can't. So I'm just going to record some blank groups because I'll merge into them just so I can visualize this. Okay. I'm going to add the other fixture types in later. I got to prep a show here in a little bit, so I don't have too much time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record merge these into beams. Okay. Then I'm going to record merge these into LED. Now, with my beams group, damn it. Pay attention to what you select, otherwise you start renaming the wrong thing. Heck? Why are you fucking with me right now? I want these. I like it to where I don't have to press go on anything, and it kind of just does it based on the fader. So I always have on my intensity groups, at least, or my intensity faders, I'll always have my fader activates and releases stack. And you don't need to do the release depending on how you run shows. I like it so that way if I have an effect somewhere else, it will just kind of let the effect fully take over. So that way, I don't have to worry about having to activate my stacks, which is annoying. Also, flash acts as go plus flash. No. Or is it flash acts like fader? Oh, I gotta activate and release. Derp. I had that working before. I'll work on that later. I don't need it working necessarily right this second. So I'll have my intensity faders. These are going to be, actually these are spots. Why did I call them beams? I'll have spots, I'll have beams, I'll wash, fixtures, LEDs, and then I'll leave playback 5 open. This is the layout for all the older consoles. There's a few more faders on the Stadium, but we're not programming this for Stadium. We're actually I'm programming this for my portable setup, which is going to be 2 wings, touchscreens, and something I could just fly with. Okay, so that's the basics of that. Now, we're going to set up my color pickers, which I think I came up with. I think let's do 5. 16. Hopefully it's 16. Because 18 by 5 it kind of makes this a little small, but I mean it will be full size on a screen, so those buttons will be bigger. So the way we want to do this is busking is kind of done in the programmer. I don't like that, but that's how a lot of these built-in busking tools on ChamSys work. So what we're going to do is each row is going to be its own region. Basically, region means that I'll have palettes here, color palettes, and those color palettes will automatically select or work with whatever group I put into this region. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my beams group into the first start of it. So it also kind of gives me a label stolen from the group. Then I'm going to be really crap about this because I don't want to spend time building it. I'm going to change this later when I actually build my color palettes. But I'm going to do copy. I'm going to select all of these, shift enter. No. Whatever. I don't want to copy heads, but it should be fine because they're just palettes. No, that's what I thought. So I'm going to do copy, close that, select destination. So now I have the generic built-in color palette, which isn't bad. Then in the Sign Special, we have a bunch of new stuff. I don't know how new it is, but I just found out a bit. So I'm going to do a 1 second time. I'm going to do in to out. I'm going to do normal, which is left to right, I believe. I'm gonna do, what else did I want to do? No, I don't use random. I think that's it. So how many is that? You know what, let's do a 2-second too. And we'll just cut this down one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 by 5. 15 by 5. Okay. And the way that you link all this together is you just select the row, and you have to make sure that you have a group in your region. Otherwise, it doesn't do really anything. And you just hit set region, and you can see it kind of all popped. I'm going to add button bitmaps to these later. I don't have them on this computer. They're on my actual show computer, which is actually in my car, but I don't feel like copying this stuff right now. And as I build this more, I will make it pretty. But basically, so now I have a basic color picker that I could add fade times to, up to 2 seconds. And if I don't want fade times, I can just unselect them. There is a no fade times button, but it's just a waste of space. And I could also do in to out, or my left to right. There is some issues with this standard color thing, like UV, it uses a wheel, so you get kind of a weird jump because color mixing is going to white and it's using the wheel, which I would probably not use that. I might add a reverse, so I might actually make this longer, but I do like the 1 second, 2 second. That is the basic color picker that I'm going to be using. I'll have two of these executor pages. One is just going to be color. The other one is going to be effects and stuff like that, color effects. And that one, I'm still working throughout my head how I'm going to do it, because you would have to basically just select the group to do things. And so we'll see. So now I'm just going to do the same thing. Let's clear my selections. We're going to take my LED group. We're going to actually copy my LED group. We'll close that. I run ChamSys in Hog to warp. There's pretty much all settings. I used to be a Hog programmer, so it uses a lot of settings that I liked from Hog days. You don't have to run it like that, but I like that. So, again. So we have our LEDs there. Again, we just copy. Then, actually, we could probably just copy these. And then we'll just set that as region, and it should already set it as a new region. If it doesn't, you can click it again and it should just advance to another region number. So now, put those up. Oh, with those up, we'll do the same thing. We have a nice, very quickly built, no hard programming. This is super easy to set up. And my old way of doing it was super complex and super buggy. And when you try to add fade times to it, it did weird things. It was good for doing snap colors, but yeah. So same thing, you can do in and out. you do normal. Now the reason you're seeing that there's actually two groups, but that kind of threw me off. Again, previs, not worried about that right now. And then of course, we just fade them all 2 seconds to red. So, cool thing is you could preload and do crossfades like that. I might add another row where I just have some control buttons like preload, because I'll have this on an external screen, and then the preload button won't be here, but you could actually add a preload button. So let me, because I am going to add, I'm going to add the reverse because sign special. And then you just need, every time you add something to the group or to the region that you're trying to control, you just need to reset that region. It just changed the region number, but it included reverse into it. And that one just jumped to 1 because 1 was open. So now I have a reverse and a normal. So I would go both ways if I really wanted to. And the reason I added another row is because I want to add some just basic control stuff. Like I might want, let's put the, you could add, if I could find it, your time code clock or just regular clock. And I put it 3 over because when you go, oh, well, it's supposed to go bigger. But anyways, well, then I'll have a preload. Wow, I am blind today. Oops. Did not mean to do that. Okay. And of course, it's all running in the programmer. So if you hit clear, it will just clear all your color data. That's kind of why I don't like it. So if you need to make any changes live in the programmer, you can have to do it blind. Which if you have previs set up, it shouldn't be too big a problem because you can just set previs to show your blind mode. But yeah. It's cool because you can have different times for both fixtures. And then I'll make it pretty, so when it's in this mode, you know, it'll actually look good and not look like shit. Because those buttons look like shit to me. We'll make them pretty. But then you also have your preload button, which will let you preload and go. So that is my color picker. I'm still working out how to do some effect stuff. So I'll do a 10 by 6 grid. And what we're going to do is again, some of these busking things are based off of this. There is a built-in or pre-built stuff like this, which are your pre-built kind of busking setup. It has a bunch of the stuff we already did, the timing on the color changes, but we don't need a lot of that because we aren't going to be using these, and they're for palette changes. And we're going to be using those. Or color fix, so. But for now, I'm probably going to just make my own because. Alright, but anyways, so we need our color palettes again on this one. And I'll show you why in a second. Now, again, if you select your group, it will change them. But we're not worried about that. So I'm going to do my sets right here, I guess. I'll figure it out later. So we're going to do some color effects. We'll do our set colors right here. And I'll show you what these do in a second. And then do our runs up here. I like them up top so that way I can get them quickly. So we're going to do color flick. We're going to do 2 color effects, do 3 color effects, and we'll do a white flick. That will be, and then we'll also just over here for now do a zoom chase and basic intensity chase. And I don't think I said that, but okay, I did. So we have a basic intensity chase, basic zoom chase, and if you do these, they're not going to do anything yet. So what you got to do is, we'll do it on the spots because there's so many of the LEDs that are just kind of all facing down. Is I'm going to select my beams, our spots labeled wrong again. We're going to set color 1 to blue, red, and then let's just do magenta. It's a horrible color, maybe. So now I set those 3 colors for it. So now if I do a color flick, it's going to take that first color I set, which was the blue, and do a color flick. If I do 2 color effects, it's going to take those 2 colors, first 2 colors, which were blue and red, and then do the sign chase between them. And I could change the red to like a green, but you have to redo the effects. It doesn't do it live as of yet. And then 3 color, we'll take those 3, which is now blue, green, and magenta. Now what I don't know is if you clear it. Okay, so if you clear it, it keeps that data. But is that global data? I actually have not experimented with that. Okay, so that is global data. Okay, so it's global data. And then this is a quick and dirty color effects page. I'm going to do more. Actually, probably just move this down one. Because I need more room for shit. Okay, so now I'm going to, what time is it? Okay. I got like 10 minutes. So I'm just going to start creating my effects faders. So it's going to be, I'm going to kind of group all my movement effects into one fader, and I'm going to do it on 9. I'm going to leave 10 open because I use that for key spots or conventionals that need to have, if I have a, whatever, it's my priority fader. And until I get my wing back. And then we'll make, I'm going to experiment with some speed things on the X fader. Because you could change the mode of that. I might do a tap on it though. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to my first layout again. We're going to select that. We're not going to do anything else. We're not going to add any position data to it because all my effects are relative. So that means whatever position you're at, it'll run that effect on. So that way I could just, it's a relative effect. If I add position data, when I record it, it will not be relative, it will be absolute. It will go to that same position every time, and I don't want that. That gives me no flexibility. So I need it to be relative, so that's also why you don't want to start recording things until you have that on a fader, because you'll start recording intensity data. You could tell it not to, but it's more steps, and it's just easier and quicker to record things if you're only selecting the data that you want to record. So I'm going to add my effects. I'm going to start with just a basic circle, and I'm going to go pretty big on it. So actually 50% is pretty good, and we're going to go at a little bit faster of a speed because I will be doing speed. This is pretty good. 100% spread. Okay. So now we'll just record that. And we'll close. So now okay, so now we just need to change some options on the fader. And just to make sure, we're going to set no to HTTP. We're going to have it control the size. We're not going to have it control speed. So now, I'm just saying, the higher you raise it, the bigger it goes. And we also want to add a speed adjustment. So we want to add a tap button. I believe it has to be done globally, which kind of sucks, but whatever. Wish you could do that per fader, the taps. But for now, I'm also going to do some experimentation when I get the external wing, not this the main wing, but the set playback wing. With I haven't used it much just because I don't have the faders to do it, but you have the functions of doing Q stacks. Is basically where you could just record the group into a Q stack, and you could have this be a size or speed master for that stack. And you kind of do different speed masters, kind of like Ma, but it's done a little bit different. So, but for now we're going to just set our select buttons globally to be tap to BPM. So in order to do that, we got to go setup. We got to do playback, and we got to do tap the time buttons, which is currently set to none. And we're going to set the select. The only thing that means is if there's an effect, I guess it does. If there's anything on that, it won't let you select it. So if you need to select something, you have to press Shift and then click the select button. And then you can select that. Shift kind of bypasses the tap to BPM. So now, if I have it full, I have a tap to BPM, that's way fast. Then you can oh, they did do that. Okay, so this is new. Sorry, I just saw this ADD kicking in. But they had a function built in to where you could set executor page 1. If you did a 3 by 10 row of executors, you could map those, or 2 by 10, to the play and pause button. So if you weren't using play and pause buttons, maybe it was select too. Pretty sure it was just play and pause. You could have them globally set to executor page 1. And you could just add, basically, have 2 rows of executor buttons, which is good if you didn't have if you didn't have a playback wing and you wanted some executor buttons. So, but now it looks like, at least I didn't notice it before, maybe I just didn't notice it. It looks like you just do it per fader, which is kind of nice that way if you do have some Q stacks and you don't want to accidentally take control over them. You can still do that. And I use those all the time, and just usually just gobo for gobos, or for just quick things like if I want a strobe button. Yeah, things I don't necessarily want on the touchscreen, just because if I don't want to accidentally miss the soft button, which I have done. So that's cool. So anyways, I'm going to probably create a global speedmaster for things later, but again, I want to do that on the second fader page. So, but I like having the size masters on the actual effects thing. So what I'll do is I'll just record all my effects groups here, and then I can just go through them. And I think I could add some quick go buttons on my effects page. That way I could just do that, but I will experiment that later. That is all the time I have for this session. So if you have any questions, just put them in the comments. and I will try to address them next video, and maybe we'll add some new things if you have suggestions. All right, later.